Addiction and substance abuse is something that affects many people worldwide. It does not discriminate between race, gender, social class, or nationality. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, 21.5 million American adults, 12 and older, battled a substance use disorder in 2014. Substance abuse deaths are at an all-time high. There are several common themes on how people were introduced to substances. To name a few, many people were introduced to substance abuse at a young age by family members, while others were introduced by peers and general curiosity. Prescriptions of narcotic substances for physical or mental health is also a very common theme.
What led up to me actually using substances was, I did have a really incredible childhood. I grew up on a farm, I had a horse, I had my own rifle, my own fishing pole, and I had a really good childhood. When I was 8 years old, there was some abuse in the home, and I think that's when I really shut down. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I really kind of went inside of myself and stayed there until I was about 13 years old. I knew something was different about me. I'm not quite sure what it was, but I was reaching out and trying to find out who I was, and I naturally gravitated towards people that were having fun, or at least it looked that way. They were using drugs and alcohol, and so 13 years old, I started using alcohol.
I grew up, my parents split up young. My mom left the family for her boyfriend, who she did drugs with. She left to California, so we didn't see her for like 5 years probably. Then, I don't know, everybody that I knew, adult-wise, smoked weed. So it was kind of like something that, it was their party thing. They drink alcohol and they smoke weed. You smelt it, you knew what it was. I used to find bags of weed in my dad's coat, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna throw this away, and I'd dump it down the toilet. So, I was totally against it forever. I thought it was terrible. I thought drugs were bad. I hated drugs, and I wondered why my mom didn't love me. She loved drugs more, or her boyfriend, or whatever. Well, I'd finally seen her. I think that's, definitely helped, mold me into, hating drugs, but then, totally made me understand what happened with my mom. You know what I mean? No, I first probably started smoking weed. That was probably the first thing I did. And then, I moved out of my house, early out of school, dropped out, because I was, living with my brother, we were drinking, we were smoking weed, every single weekend, then, maybe every day. I don't know. It was a lot more than I should have. And it was casual, it was just at nighttime. That's just what everybody did. It was, super normal. Nobody seemed out of control to me.
In the vicious cycle of addiction, the substance initially offers some sort of solution for the user. Either immediately, or after prolonged use, the consequences of substance abuse begin to outweigh the temporary fix the substance offers. Thus, the solution becomes the problem.
I would always drink way into the night. There was never no stopping me when I drank. That was my disease of alcoholism. I didn't know it at the time. And after when I got pregnant with my first child, I stopped drinking. And then after he was born, I would continue with the parties with the friends or whatnot. But it was always the same. I would drink out of control, and usually something happened. Usually it was a bad experience. There weren't too many good experiences, except for how it made me feel. It made me feel like I could say and do and be who I wanted to, and that I was the prettiest girl in the room and I was the best driver on the road. Those kinds of feelings is what alcohol gave me. Not necessarily the case, but it's what it made me feel like.
I was in a really dark place in my life. I really just wanted to die. And what happened was I ended up getting into a car accident. I was in a head-on collision while I was drunk. And I remember getting out of the car and walking down the street and looking at what I had just done, and I had this internal dialogue. It went something like, well, you've finally done it. You have literally altered the path of your life forever. The way that it was 20 seconds ago, it will never be that way ever again. There's no attorney that's getting you out of this. You can't say you're sorry anymore. None of that. And I thought to myself, why is it that I always find myself in this place where I'm hurt, I'm hurting others, I'm going to jail, it costs me a lot of money? What is it? And I realized that alcohol was involved every single time something bad happened. And so I made the commitment to myself right then and there as I'm looking back at this car accident I had just caused. I said, that's it, I'm done. I'm never drinking ever again. I had quit 1,000 times before that, but there was something about that moment, there was a paradigm shift that occurred, and I knew it in my soul that it was over.
Drug dealer brought heroin one time, and I was pissed, because I'm like so against meth and so against heroin, and I thought those are dirty, and they're drugs, and that's what bad people do. And I had an ex that like totally did that stuff behind my back, so it made me so mad. And then it was there, and for like 2 days I was sick, and they were doing it, my brother was doing it, my boyfriend was doing it, and I was so pissed off at him, yet I was like, ugh. And then I asked to do it, and I was like, okay, well that's cheaper, so there's that. And I did meth and heroin within like 1 day of each other the first time, and ever since then it was like it was terrible. Like, it shut down my life. I just sat there in bed probably like every day while my daughter came and fed me. She was like 3. She like took care of me. You're so sick that you don't care about your family, you don't care about your kids, you don't care about yourself. It's the worst thing you could ever do to yourself.
Rock bottom looks different person to person. It may be spiritual, physical, mental, or emotional. Whatever it may be, there is hope, healing, and restoration. People's lives can and do change for the better.
Things that have happened to me over the past 9 years in recovery, and allowed me that basically the confirmation that this thing is real and that I'm going to be okay. For example, yesterday was my 38th birthday, and it was very chaotic. I'm going to brunch, I'm going to a meeting, I'm going to hang out with friends, we're going to a movie, and I finally came back to my house and I sat on my couch all by myself, and it dawned on me. 10 years ago, 1 decade ago, when I turned 28 years old, I was loaded. That was 10 years ago. That was the last birthday I spent loaded. I don't know what I did. I can tell you I blacked out. I can tell you there was probably some insanity involved. But it's been 10 years since I've actually not drank during a birthday, and that for me was huge. And that was a really big deal for me yesterday, to realize that much time has actually passed. The miracles that have occurred, like doing service work, giving of myself freely without any expectations, there's some serious power in it.
Sober, I have way more energy to take care of myself, so I feel good about myself. I feel good inside, I feel good outside. I eat better. My daughter's better in school because she's not up late, not eating well, wondering why I'm in the bathroom, why I'm not paying attention to her, why, you know what I mean? Like, she was getting in trouble in school where she was hitting kids, and she was, I don't know, and I didn't understand it, but it was like, you need to get out of here, you need to go in the other room. Like, she thought she was a bad kid. She definitely thought she was a bad kid, and now she's definitely good. Like, she's super good. She helps. I got her a baby. She's amazing, and my daughter's a big sister, and she's in love with her. She's such a good sister. So it's incredible, the things that have happened.
When I first walked into Alcoholics Anonymous, I was worried about what am I going to do when the hard times hit, Am I going to be able to get through the hard times without the use of alcohol, without numbing my feelings, feeling my feelings? It's a hard thing to do, and it's probably one of the biggest things that keep people out there. Not every day is a good day, and it's okay. It's okay that we don't, that we have bad days, then life. And I think for me, you know, I've gone through a lot of stuff in sobriety because I've got 29 years of sobriety, so that's a lot of sober living. And I have had some really, really great times, but I've also had some really, really sad, hard life experiences. And I think the worst was 2 years ago on July 10th when I lost my friend to a heroin overdose. Sorry. So when Jordan passed, a friend came to me and asked me if I wanted to do something, and I said, you know, put something together, start something, and I said yes, and so we created Jordan's Hope for Recovery, and that was a way to continue his battle and honor his memory by helping other people who struggle with drug dependence and alcoholism. So we started this organization, and we've spoken in the high schools, you know, to let people know the stories. A lot of families have been struggling silently because of the stigma of heroin addiction. And so we want to be that voice and encourage people and let people know that they're not alone.
If you are struggling with addiction, you are not alone. There are many resources out there that can help you combat the vicious cycle of addiction.